All right, guys, I'm so happy that Derek Lunsford got the win. He deserved the win. Samson, you put on a good fight, but you didn't come in condition. You didn't come in condition for the Olympia, not to your max, and you certainly didn't come condition to your max here at the Arnold. So, what does this mean for your Olympia reign? So when you win the Olympia, you are the number one bodybuilder in the world. And you're expected to travel the world, guest pose, make a lot of money, eat a lot of good food, sign a lot of autographs. Not go to the Arnold Classic and compete and get dusted by the guy that took third last year, who lost his title, and who now everybody's going to think is going to get his title back because he is now the number one contender. Hottie, who took second place at last year's Mr. Olympia, is no longer the number one contender because Derek won in Arnold. So, how do you, who's going to, I don't know, man. This is so weird. This is going to be such a great year for bodybuilding, though, because it's going to be so, you got Hottie, who was last year's runner-up, also a Mr. Olympia, also an Arnold Classic champion. He's going to be wanting the Sandow back, right? You got Samson, also an Arnold Classic champion, who lost the Arnold this year, won the Olympia last year, but got beat by the guy who took third, who was defending his, it's just so crazy. Then you got Brandon, who goes from 9th at the Olympia to 4th at the Arnold Classic. You got William Bonac back in the mix in the top 6, 5th place. You got Akeem Williams back in the mix, back in that top 6. Sean Clarita 1 spot out. You got Patrick Moore with a strong top 10. Strong top 10. That gym fight must have really helped him. And it's just going to be so interesting. So interesting. Well, I got to get to church, but I just wanted to jump on here and just what a mind this is. How do you go now? What MC is going to say, and the greatest bodybuilder in the world, your 2024 Mr. Olympia? Are you really the greatest? Because you got your ass handed to you yesterday in Columbus, Ohio. So it's such a disservice, though, for the Olympia. It's such a disservice. Like Jake Wood and Dan Solomon and all them, they can now not really promote Samson, be like, we got the greatest bodybuilder. You don't. He got his ass handed to him by Derek Lunsford. It's your 2024 Mr. Olympia coming here. Oh, that's the guy that Derek dusted. That's what it's going to be like. I don't know if it was just a competitiveness or it was just, just a big head. I don't know. But, what would ever possess you to do this? Ronnie Coleman, the great Ronnie Coleman, the GOAT, the greatest of all times, along with Lee Haney, was so torn for so many years as Arnold Classic, as Mr. Olympia champion, because he didn't want to take the gamble. The greatest of all time, didn't want to take a chance of doing the Arnold to lose the Olympia. The greatest of all times. Now, Samson. Again, this is not disrespect to you, but I hope you don't take it offensively, but you are not Ronnie Coleman, okay? And that should not offend you, because really there is only one Ronnie Coleman, but you are certainly not Ronnie Coleman. So seriously, why would you, with just one Olympia, why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? I'm serious. Has this ever happened before? Seriously, has this ever happened before? Like the historians, I'm not a historian. I know a lot of stuff, but I'm not a historian. Can the historians in the sport of bodybuilding please chime in? This will be what I'm going to start the post out on YouTube and Instagram and all the social media platforms. Not that Derek won. Not that, Samson's going to have a hard time, traveling the world and promoting bodybuilding as Mr. Olympia, reigning Mr. Olympia, got his ass handed to him in Columbus, Ohio 4 months after. Or, more importantly to me right now, because I'm stumped, has this ever happened before? Has a guy ever won the Mr. Olympia and then done some, well, I don't want to say some rinky-dink show, because the Arnold Classic is the second biggest bodybuilding show, followed by the New York Pro, but I just, any show really, at this point, has that ever happened? I know it happened with Ronnie, because I wrote about it in my article for Strength Addicts at the GNC Show of Strength, so I know it's happened before, but I mean, that's like one time. When was that? 2002, and we're in that was 23 years ago. But besides that, has it ever happened? But actually, let me say one other thing on that. Let me say one more thing on that. When Gunther beat Ronnie at the GNC Show of Strength, it was, you know, a little bit much for Ronnie. He had a hard time dealing with it. He still has a hard time dealing with it, and it was not good in terms of the title, of the Mr. Olympia title. However, I think that was nowhere near as bad as this, because Gunther never placed second to Ronnie, ever. Not ever, not ever, not ever, not ever. And also, it was, no offense to GNC, I love GNC, and I love the Show of Strength, but it was the GNC Show of Strength. It was not, you know, the Night of Champions. It was not the Ironman, and it certainly was not the Arnold Classic. So, I mean, what basically I'm saying is, they could have written it off as, you know, some random show, you know. Those are not the judges that judge the big shows. They didn't know what they were doing that year, you know. No, you can't do that. You cannot do that, because this is the Arnold frickin' Classic. And you had Big Steve and you had Tyler judging. So there's no room for error. Zilch. How do you play that down? So even though, yes, Ronnie lost at the GNC Show of Strength after winning the O, it's totally apples and oranges to this. He took second at a small show against a guy who never stood next to him in the top three. Sorry, Gunther. But here, this is totally different. This is completely different. This is really bad for Samson. I mean, now on the flip side, I applaud him for being competitive. I applaud him for not, you know, taking the title and basically hiding from the rest of the world for the rest of the year. I applaud him for that. But what a gamble. And I applaud him for being, you know, the high roller that he is, you know, because this is a heck of a gamble. This is putting everything, the house, the boat, the kids, the dog, this is putting it all, you know, on a hand of cards, or, you know, on a number or whatever. This is a gamble. This is a huge, huge gamble. So, sir, I give you kudos for being a high roller. I do. And I give you kudos for being competitive. I do. And I give you kudos for, you know, not wanting to, as I said earlier, hide with the title for the whole year. I give you kudos. But man, what a stupid move.